I'll take a cue from where Arvind left, and I'll try to present the end user perspective, the client perspective, the perspective mostly from corporate healthcare direction. But yes, I would, seeing the sessions happening yesterday, I would like to also add a little bit of perspective which would be generalized for each and every healthcare service provider in the country. Healthcare IT is an enabler, but if you can see the slide at the top, I have mentioned something like IT and automation. Probably we are the first healthcare service providers who have actually incorporated automation systems also as part of IT to deliver integrated healthcare ICT services. In the subsequent slides, I'll try to share the journey we had in the last few years, the innovations what we have done ourselves and with the help of different solution providers, our small achievements. I'd like to share how to set up an basic and advanced healthcare IT infrastructure and the vision thereafter. Over the past years, industries across various domains have experienced dramatic improvement in their productivity, efficiency, and cost control by adopting information technology. We have seen a lot of healthcare organizations and other organizations realigning themselves, their strategies, their business processes to maximize the utilization and adoption of IT systems. The healthcare sector may be lagging behind in IT adoption initially, but we have recently seen that there has been a phenomenal spurt in IT spending, and due course of time, these healthcare organizations have also experienced its benefits. Progressive healthcare organizations need to realign themselves with the healthcare IT system ecosystem and be more creative on the use of IT. I would like to underline this, that we have to incorporate creativity and innovation on use of information communication technology systems. And in the subsequent slides, I'll try to share how we have taken up this flavor. The age is that we have synchronized integrated healthcare delivery systems. Different medical equipment speak to each other. They have certain common languages. There are communication protocols. There are software systems in place, and software vendors try to promote the concept, and even the users anticipate that there would be interoperability. The same goes with the systems which are even indigenously evolved, and then there are a lot of players in the market who claim the same thing. Subsequent slides will show you how we have tried to achieve the same. This is a simple patient bedside monitoring system. Don't go by the make, there could be any make of bedside monitoring system. This is an essential component which you get to see next to a patient bedside when he is in ICU. In a typical hospital like us, we have 120, 150 like these. What happens is that normally we have a centralized monitoring station where a nursing staff would be there, and she would be monitoring a snapshot of quad view or 16 patient sine waves. Now, had she been so intelligent and a doctor and able to comprehend these sine waves, then there would have not been any need of a doctor. But the problem is that she is there just to listen to the alarms that are happening and speak to the doctor and try to reach to him when the health of the patient deteriorates. What we have tried to do is that we have tried to push the entire data not only on the web, but a centralized server which runs on Microsoft SQL Server, and it acts as a web server. It does some kind of compression. We use some compression technology, so you get to see each bedside monitor with a secure login over a basic data card anywhere in the world. Now, this could be happening at most of the places, or we might have achieved also, but what we have added to it is that when the patient is in the ICU, his parameters fluctuate a lot. So by the time the nurse has approached or spoken to the doctor, his health would have stabilized, and again after some time his health would deteriorate. Now, where do you get all this critical data or analytical data to analyze what actually went wrong at that point of time? Now, this database server has inbuilt analytical tool which analyzes each and every second of patient vital parameters of almost 150 patient bedside monitors and keep it ready to be viewed by the clinician from anywhere in the world. All he has to do is he has to access the web page, can see the live parameter feed, but by the time his status would have normalized, what he gets to do is he will go to event review or trend review. In this, he'll get to see those red marks. I've intentionally picked up the data of a patient from the hospital 3 days back who was critically ill, and he was a cardiac patient in CCU. Now you get to see a lot of red marks over here. This vertical line, what you see over here, coincides with what you can't see over here, is this line. So this gives you precisely at 2 seconds past 9 or 9 minutes past 9 p.m. in the night, he had asystole. That is means slowing down. I'm not a doctor, I just asked one of the doctors. So that's the pacing of the heart reduced. He also had extreme brady also. So the doctor gets to see when and for how many moments his heart stopped. So this kind of analytical tool actually gives historical data, and we try to keep the data for the last 3-4 days, and it gets overwritten. But the interesting part is that wherever the doctor is, or the doctor wants to take a secondary opinion, he can share the credentials, login details with any of the doctors, and he get to see what actually transpired at that moment of time when patient was unstable. This is a complete in-house innovation what we have done. There are various dimensions to this. Normally, most of the hospitals you get to see, when a smaller hospital you get to see, have fixed up small security cameras, CCTV cameras in their ICUs. You get to see the video of the operation theater or ICU, patient in the ICU within the hospital. There are some places where you get to see the data outside the campus over the internet. What we have tried to incorporate in this system is that, let's say if you speak to an IT person, if you get to see a video feed from somewhere, you need to install a basic ActiveX component or a capturing DLL file, something you need to install on your desktop to get the video feed, because every streaming or compression techniques works differently. There are multiple camera vendors available, but again, to capture the video or stream the video, at the end point you need to install something. What we try to do is that to do away with this kind of downloads for the patients and the relatives who are not tech savvy, we have done away with the use of any component. So what you get to see is you enter the credentials and you get to see the live video feed of the patient in the ICU. We have not put cameras in each and every ICU. We have certain cameras which are mobile on the trolleys. Frankly speaking, we have taken some broken chairs, mounted a pole on the top of it, and set up power over Ethernet IP cameras onto it. The cameras are strolled down to the patient bedside. Now the second comfort what we've extended to the patient relatives is we plan to charge this fee because a lot of hard work has gone into making of the system. So for instance, we gave a subscription of 5 minutes or 3 minutes to one of the patient relatives, and we gave him credentials. Now the system is so precise, the moment somebody logs in over the internet in the hospital, outside the hospital, from Delhi, Mumbai, US, UK, anywhere in the world, his timer will only start from the moment he gets to see the video, and that's what our guarantee is. So if you don't get to see the video, you logged in also, the timer will not start. The moment you close the window, the timer will stop, so he can pass on and mail this credential to all his relatives, and one by one they get to see, for the minuscule subscription fee, they get to see their relative. Probably 20-30 people can get to see their relative. Second benefit, which is actually a clinical benefit, is that this safeguards both patients and relatives from any kind of infection. So clinically also this system is very beneficial, and a lot of nuisance comes in when the place where we stay, for a single patient there are around 20 attendants. So this really helps. Since it is IP based, so without even having internet from any of the desktops or laptops in the hospital campus, the patient can request anybody at any other nursing desk to let them view their patient for 1 or 2 minutes. This is now what I refer to as automation system. This is nothing to do with healthcare IT, but has everything to do, at least today, and more relevance today after this Calcutta instance. Probably we are one of the first healthcare organizations in the country who have thought of IT and automation and services of healthcare setup as a single entity. This is one of the most advanced fire detection system which we have set up in our hospital. I give consultancy for fire safety, so I'd like to share a very important thing with every one of you, is that fire detection system is for life safety, and fire sprinkler system or water sprinkler system is for asset protection. So people do away with saying that you have a sprinkler system. Actually, sprinkler system gets activated when the flames go that very high. So already by the time you have really fried up. Sprinkler systems are mainly used for last moment evacuations, so that within the corridors you can run across. But the fire detection system does the real life saving. The fire detection system, what we have is Underwriter Laboratories 9 certified. This means that almost in 1.5 to 2 seconds we get to know there is a fire. We get to know the difference between a person is smoking a cigarette below the detector or it's a real fire. So there would not be a false alarm. We have 9 levels of preliminary alarms. So we have sufficient, confirmatory evidence that okay, this is a genuine fire. So we can actually program the sensitivity of each and every detector. Every detector has an identity, and the best part is it's not expensive. It is all about how you design the system. The interesting thing is that we got to see a lot of panels at the airports. Recently I've seen one of the panels, the same make in Delhi Airport, at Delhi Airport. Now what happens is there is a panel and there is a fire. Can you expect a siren or alarm sounding in a hospital? Because that will create panic. So what is required is a control room, and this is one of the most advanced control rooms. And then finally, after 2 or 3 years down the line, they come back and say, boss, iski ye limitation hai, this is the limitation. Even the vendors come and tell you a lot of limitations. We designed our systems 5 years back. You would not believe, I'm praising myself and my team. 5 years back, I spoke to my management and the hardware vendors, told them about virtualization, which we call cloud computing today. And they were amazed. And they said, boss, kahan se padh ke aaye? I'm going to share a very important thing, a very, very smart thing that is going to happen next year. Next year is going to be very exciting in terms of tablets, very exciting in terms of every laptop which will be manufactured June onwards, most probably, would not need a power adapter, if anybody knows about this thing. Sitting in the airport, you just insert your network cable, you get network access as well as charging. The art is to strike a balance. Normally people buy switches, they are unmanaged switches. Please buy economical managed switches. You can, manage your network much well. As Arvind said, you have to have firewalls, network security, network admission controls in place. Believe me, most of the technologies are sold at exorbitant prices by many of the large vendors, but it is easily available at much lower cost by different vendors. So this is, okay, we are one of the first who have actually deployed the private virtual cloud in the campus, and we plan to serve our remaining hospitals through that. We have practically virtualized, these are the, virtualization infra platform providers. I wish to add something over here, then I think 2 slides are remaining. Believe me, next thing to the future, beyond, cloud computing and server virtualization, really think about it, and probably I had time, I would have shared the facts about what is actually cloud. It's really hyped, and you know, it's really simple but difficult to understand how technology works. Next step, or the next step in the future would be, you don't have to buy any desktops. Your desktop will get virtualized. You just have to buy a sort of dumb clients or thin clients, but the story is entirely different from thin clients what you used to have. So focus on this, servers and desktop infra virtualization. The next hospital what we are making, we are ensuring that desktops are virtualized, so your desktops will never get obsolete. Now last 2 slides, I would say SMS is the future. Smart mobility solutions. I always believe, and as discussed yesterday, that smart mobility solutions would actually reframe the perspective for the future. And this is what is going to happen in abundance next year onwards. We all like ice creams, and I wish to add, need to develop vanilla flavored systems for Indian hospitals. And in some other session, I would like to share, even a lot of solution providers are working on it, a basic system which can be plugged and played, virtualized, or some other way for each and every hospital in existence. That's it. Thank you.